Oh. How's everybody doing? Just because it's a break week and there's no chapter doesn't mean that we don't stop talking about One Piece around here. All right. Normally, for the break weeks, we kind of come into this with a theme. We did the old theories one. We did underrated moments, all that kind of stuff. But for today, and especially considering we've got like nearly back-to-back break weeks coming up, just want to do something a little more relaxed. Hang out, ask me anything. We'll kind of go through the comments, talk about different stuff. I mean, there's plenty of things that's been going on. It's not like we can't, fill time even talking about 1018 a little more also. So wanted to sort of leave it open. We did the poll. Mostly, 3/4 of the people that voted said that they just wanted to hang out and basically kick it. So there we go. That's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna look. Oh, looks like. Okay. Galaxy, you put a link to one of the wrong streams in the Discord. But thanks for making the post anyway. I was just gonna make one. All right, so let's take a look at the chat, guys. All right. I got Chin in here. He said, surprised me. I thought the stream's tomorrow. So I was planning on streaming. Normally I would stream tomorrow. But Chrisley's going to be at a wedding, and I'm going to be home all day with Mars. So I'm just, not doing a stream with the boy yet here. Yeah. Barry said the same thing, that she hoped it was tomorrow as well. Yeah, but, happy to have you guys here anyway. Let's see. Giovanni said, can we congratulate Captain Randy Troy on being invited to the Reverie? Yep. Thanks, everybody. I did get this invitation from Morge. Yep, he magically floated it to me in thin air. So. Yeah, so you can catch me on Morge's channel. Pretty much all these One Piece YouTubers are going to be there. I don't know how everybody's going to get a conversation in, but it's going to be pretty chaotic, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Shout out Enigma Sword. He did a super chat here. Appreciate it, my guy. Savage. He said, just saying thanks for making break weeks easier, W. That's what it's about, guys. That's what it's about. We're keeping the conversation going even if there's not a chapter. And I've been thinking a lot about 1018 and this whole stuff with the Sun God and Nika and everything. And I had put the review out, well, the analysis really. And I was doing a lot of deep dives, as I said, into it, like into the West Indies and everything, and especially when I saw that all this stuff with Joy Boy tied back to Haiti. I kept thinking about I kept thinking more and more about the Ancient Kingdom, and the Ancient Kingdom being some sort of a split island and anything, sort of like Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And then, that's not, that's obviously not the only instance of something like that in our world. We have, obviously there's a North and a South Korea that's, that was split the Vietnam War, was started because there was a split. If that war went differently, there may have been a North and South Vietnam. But I know that he's always trying to draw from real life things, and I just started to think, like, what if the fishmen originally lived on the surface, And I haven't collected all of my thoughts on this, but it might be worth its own video at some point. But what if the fishmen, like, the ancient kingdom was, well, I mean, this is, tinfoil and everything, but what if the ancient kingdom was a bunch of fishermen? Like, that's where they originally started. And then they were driven out by the world government and sent down below into the water. And, like, Joy Boy was trying to, like, save their kingdom and everything like that, and he couldn't get them from being below. And then that's why, the Ark was created, and the Ark, there's a lot of stuff that we could tie into Noah and why Noah exists that way as well. Let's see. Lucy B said, well, split country, remember Germany? Yeah, that's another one to bring up as well, of course. Yumil Diaz at 1018 is a mic drop chapter. Yeah, I mean, there's still so much stuff that we can talk about from it. Chin wants Chrissy to take over the channel while I'm at the Reverie. Who's going to watch Mars? Let's see. Maxo said, have you heard that Morge does not watch the anime? I mean, the manga is the definitive version, but I mean, like, the anime is great. Like, I'm super hyped for the next episode, guys. I mean, anybody who saw 957? I've been waiting for Megumi Ishitani to come back, I was thinking about it, but, if I did a live reaction to the anime, would people, like, be interested in that or watch it? I don't want to. I'm not going to do it for every episode, because most of the time I'm watching the episodes like, all right, bad pacing. Okay, we got it. Keep going. But this next episode, I know, is going to be fire. And I watched 957 like 3 times because of how good it was. Let's see. Alright, some people want me to do it. Joker said that Brago does it. Yeah, I saw that Brago does it. I don't know how he does the thing where, he's in the corner and he, like, green screens himself. But, figure it out. I wouldn't play the sound, though. Let's see. Super chat from Brandon King.
Savage.
He said, can you read my sun god theory? It's a semi-short Reddit post. I mentioned you in Discord. I'm Thime Lord 22. Didn't I answer you back on that? Because I remember you had tagged me on the Discord, and then I remember saying something back about it. I got to take a look at it again. Link it to me again in the Discord, and I'll go through it again. Let's see. Got another super chat here from T-Por or TP-Or. Any big theory videos in the works? Love your work. So I shot a video where it was just sort of like a freestyle thoughts thing about, sort of tinfoil going into what I think Kaido's flashback could be, and my first impressions on rocks, and just sort of doing a sort of off-the-cuff character analysis on Kaido. So I just need to edit that and put it out. It's not, as structured or formulaic as like the Law video or the Tama one. It's very sort of relaxed and loose, but should be enough to get a conversation going. So hopefully I'll have that soon out. I also recorded the next live action part. I did that a couple of weeks ago. I still have to edit that and get it out. It's not going to take me very long to edit that one. And that's going to be another short one, kind of like the last one was kind of short. Maybe only 10-15 minutes on that one. Just a discussion piece. And but as far as big theories, I'm thinking about doing an actual analysis into like the theology and like religion in One Piece, and kind of going more into this Joy Boy stuff and Nika and messianic figures and how religion could tie into the ancient kingdom. I'm sort of forming that in my head and thinking about it. That one I would probably do more structured in the style of the Law or Tama video. Lots of ideas, just need the time. Yeah, but I'm getting it more and more. I just saw what you sent me, Chrissy. That's fun. Chrissy just sent me a photo of Mars on the floor in the living room watching this on the TV in there. It's great. Let's see. Let's see what the chat's saying. Rain Man said, "Do you think the anime would have been a lot better seasonal, or too many details would have been cut out of the adaptation?" I think if it was seasonal, then we would have a near perfect adaptation. Now, I love the anime, right? But it does have a lot of issues, pacing-wise, right? I think it's got the best voice acting out of any anime I've ever seen. And, it's just like, it's top tier. And I mean, like, what they do week to week, you gotta give them credit for it. But the thing is that it is a business, right? So they have to spread it out, pace it out. They don't want to, it's an obligation. They have to have an episode come out each week. So if that means cutting to 5 different shots of close-ups of eyes, then that's what it's going to take to just eat up a minute of time. so that they can get the ad sponsorships and all this other stuff. I would love if One Piece was seasonal, and I would love if Megumi Ishitani would just do every episode. Oh man, that's what I want. Perfect world. Put me in that timeline. Maxo said it's totally fine that Morge doesn't watch the anime, but he seems so proud of the fact. The video he did with Braga was sigh. I didn't see that video. I didn't see him talking about the anime or anything like that, so I don't know. I don't know what that was about. Haron said next episode looks like a movie. It sure does. I cannot wait. Shout out to our new member, Amani Imlahi. Hope I said that right.
Another one.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Lone Shadow said an anime reaction would be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm only going to do, like... If I do anime reactions, I'm only going to do, like, Megumi Ishitani episodes and, like, I don't know, maybe episode 1000 or something, but... A lot of people asking me about the video that Totally Not Mark just put out. So I did watch it. I did. And, you know, a lot of the points brought up are stuff that we've talked about on this channel a lot. The inversions, right? And it's nothing new. You know, I mean, I think most people, the most obvious inversion is you read Dressrosa, you look at all of it, and it's you know, what would happen if Crocodile had won, right? And had stayed in Alabasta for 10 years. But I mean, like, even beyond that, you start looking at the powers of everybody. Like, Mach Weiss and is just an upgraded version of Miss Valentine's Day. Gladius is an upgraded version of Mr. Five. Like, there's so... And that's more of like a writing technique. You know, as a writer, you know, I've caught myself reusing different elements of other stories and things like that, and you know, finding things that worked for me structure-wise and all of that, and then but I always try to do something new with it as well, and that's what Oda's doing. Like, he's using the same thing, but he's sort of flipping it. And I thought that a lot of the stuff that they were bringing up were, you know, a little, you know, little reach wise. You know, I can't remember, you know, specific examples and all of that. But some of the more, like, little things, like, definitely, there were a lot of the stuff was on point. But there were just some elements where I know, like, even Oda would be like, yeah, I mean, I just kind of did that. You know, I wasn't thinking about that. But then other things like, yes, of course I was thinking about that. That's, you know, probably what he would be saying. Get another member, Yusef Safa.
Another one.
Thank you, my friend. Welcome to the channel. What I did like about it, well, to continue on the inversion thing, I don't think that everything was as one-to-one as, like, Mark was saying it. You know, like, he was basically saying that it's a perfect inversion, right? And it's near perfect, but it's not exactly the way he was saying. Like, he was saying that, that, like, Punk Hazard was... What did he say? It was like Amazon Lily, and I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but it was like, all right, this is there's little pieces of this, but it's not as clear cut as this. Yes, Oda, you know, it's like I can look at Whole Cake, and I can find elements of Water 7, Enies Lobby, and Thriller Bark, absolutely, but I can also look at Wano and I can find elements of Water 7, Ennie's Lobby, and Thriller Bark. And that's sort of the way that Oda structures things. He's taking elements, and there's all types of things. Like even in Onigashima right now, we're finally having 1v1s, which is an Ennie's Lobby type thing. But we have multiple antagonists like Thriller Bark, and this is something that, wasn't brought up in that video, but it's like here we have that sort of Moria and Kuma element, and I've talked about this a lot on the channel, where, the looming threat in Thriller Bark was, that Kuma was there also. Now we besides Moria, here we have Kaido and Big Mom, but Oda is one-upping this because in 1003 he showed us that CP0 is there as well. So instead of like 2 main antagonists, we really have 3 sort of in the cut, but then it's also, the stakes are really high because it's also like Ennie's Lobby, where all of these CP9 agents, the Tobi Roppo, are there as well. So it's not as clear cut as all of that. But what I think my favorite thing out of that video was the idea that Elbaf will be an inversion of Sierra Village. That's the one thing that really sort of got me going and started thinking about the inversions of the East Blue arcs and all of that. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I could totally see, the end of the story obviously going back to Fuchsia Village, right? And doing all of this with Luffy, going back and paying Makino back. That was set up in chapter 1, that he owes Makino a huge debt, right? So he'll come back with all of this huge, this wealth that he's gotten, whatever treasure he finds along the way and things like that, he'll head back and he'll just throw it at Makino for all of the times that she fed him and, gave him juice. So, yeah. But now the thing is here is, if we wanted to keep going, and obviously, I've talked about this on the channel too, but the way that I try to predict Oda is by looking at possible inversions as well. That's why I expect at some point, like I love that line that Rayleigh had in Shaki's bar when he said, you may come to a different conclusion, right? So I'm waiting for that inversion scene of someone getting to Laugh Tale, maybe Blackbeard, maybe it was Rocks, right? But someone isn't laughing, and we get this gigantic panel of, someone like upset or crying. That's the way to sort of like try and predict Oda, find the pieces of things that haven't manifested yet, and sort of clue into that. Now, if you take Sierra Village, right, you take the antagonist, which was Kuro, and Kuro was a pirate that had given up, had retired, and was after wanted an easy way out, right? So that would mean that maybe during Elbaf, they're going to have to go up against some sort of notorious pirate. If you're trying to invert Sierra Village to begin with, right? Someone that is maybe very out in the open. I don't know. I have to put more thought to that. Oh, I've been missing some stuff here. Sorry. Sort of went on a tangent. I know that there's some stuff here. We got another new member, Sun Churchland.
Another one.
Thank you, my friend. Let's see. Ram said, "Hi, Randy. Hope you're doing well. Do you think we're going to get an Elbaf Giant as Nakama by the time we make it there?" So technically we do have an Elbaf Giant as Nakama, right? And that's Hajrutin. There. Right? It's part of the Grand Fleet. I think that's the best we're going to get. The Sunny would not be able to handle an Elbaf Giant. So through the Grand Fleet, Oda is able to give us more crew members than we could ever hope for or imagine. And, that's how we're able to get, like Leo, Tsuntada, and, everything sort of comes together. And, it's also how we get technically Bellamy as a crew member as well. Hyena Boys unite. We got another new member.
Another
one. Munama Sherlock. Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. Super chat from Jorge Jr. Ibarra. Thank you.
Savage.
Real life privateer, basically real life warlord, Francis Drake was also a Navy officer. Maybe more pirates from One Piece borrow more than just the name from the real life counterpart. So great point, and something that I either plan on doing a video about or doing a whole stream dedicated to is the real life counterparts of everybody. And these are things that have been brought up for many years, and a lot of the stuff I need to refresh in my memory on, but it's like so many people are based on real pirates, and that's the best way to sort of craft a theory, right? But you want to go into it, and you want to look at the history of that, but then sort of think about it in the context of Oda, right? You have to strip it down to its like exact. You have to simplify it to a just the base points, see how it could fit into the story, and think about the ways that Oda could possibly flip it, right? So here, Francis Drake, right, also a Navy officer, that's why, even though it said former Marine when we met Drake, people have always thought that, at some point he was either going to turn or that he was still a Marine, he was some sort of a spy. It was no surprise when 956 came out, and, he was, right? But the surprise was that Sword was an organization, that Kobe was involved, right? Two people that have a direct correlation to law, right? Which is where that theory came from. But other famous pirates, Anne Bonny, that's Jewelry Bonny, Zoro, which was another Francis, if I'm not mistaken, and the pronunciation I'm totally going to butcher, Lolo Nais, I think, which is where the Roanoa came from. But man, God, there's so many that I know. I remember Cavendish is based on somebody as well. Law goes back to not only a real pirate, but then also the Battle of Waterloo. There's a lot of stuff there. A lot of stuff to go from. New member Phantom SSJ.
Another one.
Welcome to the channel. Noctis says, I should put One Piece in the stream title. That's a good point. Good point. But, we still have almost, 250 people in here, so I think they know. But I'll do it anyway. All right. been fixed. All right, heading back to the chat. I want to see. Keyboard Cat said, I get a bad impression from Mark. I feel like he's only doing this for the money. Well, you know, there's sort of a, you know, I can't fault the guy. You know, he's turned it into a business. You know, I don't know if he has a job outside of it or whatever, but he's got 500,000 subs. He's got sponsorships and all types of stuff. So, you know, good on him. I mean, you know, he's got an editor. He's paying his editor. He's making interesting videos. It's there's at least a passion there, right? You know, I don't get the impression from his videos that he's talking about topics that he doesn't care about. You know, I was a little disappointed at the end of the video that it wasn't something that he had come up with himself, but that he sort of found on Twitter. And even though he shouted the person out, he crafted this whole video around someone else's thing. I like to put as much of myself into any videos that I have, you know, and I'll always shout out people if I'm, you know, taking bits and pieces from other things as well. But I think that shout out should have probably gone in the beginning. That was my thought. Let's see, I know I missed the super chat. So let me find that. Zonin Jump, or Chonin Jump. Or actually, it's probably Shonen Jump, right? Congrats on the Reverie. Any hockey clash predictions? Are you talking about hockey clashes between YouTubers at the Reverie? I'm sure there will be clashes the minute people start power scaling, and I'm just sort of sitting there like, all right, are you get back to theories now? How long are we going to talk about Shanks versus Mihawk? But, you know, there's different types of YouTubers, and that's the thing. You know, you're putting them all together in a room, and, you know, you know, most of the people in here have probably been rocking with me for a little bit. You know me, I'm just sort of like, you know, I'm a chill guy. I'm over here, you know, whatever. You know, a lot of these guys are, you know, much more... I would say probably aggressive to get their word in. So there's going to be a lot of people jumping on top of people. I'm sure there will be a bunch of hockey clashes, but I'll be sure to let my future site be known. All right. And I know that there was one from Maxo that I didn't read. I gotta find that.
Savage.
From Riken, the official One Piece map has Elbaf besides Wano. I mean, it's always made sense that Elbaf is the next thing, right? And it also makes sense with the, you know, the linear arc of Big Mom as well, because I still don't think the Big Mom is going to get defeated in Wano. I think the Big Mom is going to have to deal with her own traumas of what happened on Elbaf, and it may be something that she deals with on Elbaf, right? We'll get, I imagine a scene with, so I wonder if her memory of Mother Carmel is actually repressed, or if it was something that she had putting remove from her. So, maybe that was a devil fruit that she had specifically sought out for one of her children so that she could forget about that. And or I just think that the memo fruit has to be a plot device to activate those memories, and that she has to deal with that and figure that out. And it would be even better if CP0 are those guys, right, that they just weren't eaten. They were some of the people that weren't eaten. Because if you've watched a couple of the videos where I've shown that, one of those guys has like the same exact mask as one of the kids. Another one of those kids was a long arm. CP0 has a long arm. We don't know who these guys are. Monocle Man, whatever. He could be that prince-looking type kid that was there with the crown. Maybe once big, Lin started, chewing up some kids, some of them got away. Right? Who knows? And then they managed to shack up with the world government, even, because that's what Mother Karma was going to do for them anyway. I don't think that that's a complete reach. So we gotta deal with that. Maybe even have some 1v1s versus some Big Mom members.
Savage.
My guy Maxo, sorry it's taking me so long to get to this one. He said you say inverse Kuro. I think Blackbeard, right? Captain Kuro versus Kurohige. Yeah. Blackbeard at Elbaf. You heard it here first from Maxo. Yoda Sonic said it too. Yep. Alright, catching up with the chat. I go on tangents and then I miss everything here. Rao said, totally not Mark. Clearly likes the series. Don't need to throw shade around. I agree. Yep. Let's see. Tonito60187.
Savage.
Sun God. How many titles Luffy needs? It's stupid. So, here's my updated thoughts on everything with the Sun God, right? And this sort of goes into the larger idea of religion and religion in One Piece and everything like that. Is that I don't think that Luffy necessarily needs to be the Sun God or the avatar of the Sun God, right? In many, it's... You look at any religion, they all have their own version of God or, a deity that they worship. I think that's the Sun God is potentially, one God that a certain sect of people believed in, and then there, I did sort of talk about this in the analysis, and then there's, potentially something else where there's a moon god and things like that, and no one necessarily needs to be this person. But that's what people believed in. So I don't think that we need to say that Luffy is the Sun God, right? Just because, he's supposed to be inheriting this Joy Boy title, right? I don't think that Sun God is the title that you're going to attain. The title is Joy Boy, right? And you go back to the real world history of that, with Haiti and Joy Boy being the spirit of the drum, right? And this character that sort of brings whimsy and music and joy to people as they go around, right? So that's more what Luffy's doing. We're not deifying Luffy or turning him into some sort of messianic figure. That's not. I don't think that that's what Oda is trying to do. But will he free the slaves ultimately? At Marijoa? Yeah, he probably will. So will there be comparisons between Luffy and the Sun God in that respect? Yeah, unavoidable. But I don't think that that's exactly what Oda's doing. So, check out the Discord. Let's see. So, Brandon King super chatted earlier. I'm gonna check this out again. Yes, I remember this. Right. So he had so Brandon King had a theory of when Enel will come back into the story. And I remember this is something that we talked a little bit about in the stream for 1018 as well. Not in the analysis, but definitely in the stream. Let's see. Brandon was talking about how the Sun God was mentioned in Skypiea, where Enel was introduced, going into the Sun God's silhouette, and the comparisons to Mother Carmel and Elbaf. Yep. And now Enel is a thunder god like Thor. We know that, right? We know that there's already a Loki in there, and if you any Marvel fans in here, you know all about that. But that's also drawn from actual Norse mythology as well. So, if there is no actual Thor in Elbaf, then Enel could return in Elbaf and be the avatar of Thor. I think is the idea that Brandon's going with, and I'm okay with that as well. But that it needs to tie into everything with the moon and devil fruits and all that, and lead to the end game as well. And since Oda is moving us towards this end game, it's very possible. And he also goes into the idea of a sun god versus the moon god, right? And I talked about, what if there was a moon god as the opposite for the sun god, and that's, potentially maybe what started the Void history. That one person said, my god is better than your god, and wanted to erase all of that. The gatekeepers of ideas, the gatekeepers of religion, you go back to the Reformation and things like that, centuries ago, and not even that long ago, just in like the 1500s, only for at least Catholicism, priests were the only people who could read the Bible, until Martin Luther started printing translated copies for people to have so that it could be something that was intrinsic to you. So, and then you could find your own idea of what you see God to be and all of that from the text, instead of having someone tell you what it is. So, there could be a situation like that in One Piece where people started, and that's also representative of the poneglyphs, right? So the poneglyphs were spread across to sort of give people these similar ideas and to understand, come to their own conclusions, as Rayleigh would say. It's so applicable, that line, to everything. And the world government doesn't want you to come to your own conclusion. Right, coming back to the chat. Galaxy Vita said, I hope you can talk with O'Hara, Morge, and those guys. You can make some crazy theories on the spot. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, but I mean, I don't necessarily want to be the person that announces this, but I think that Morge wanted to do a like hour-long, smaller reverie before the like a pre-reverie thing with the people that haven't been in the reverie, and O'Hara was going to join that as well. And I think Morge was going to be a part of that, and then it would be like, I guess me, I'm D King, Joy Girl, Flying Panda, and who else was in there? Fiji, I think. That may or may not happen, but there was a discussion of scheduling and all of that. So let's see what happens. Oh, and our tour, yeah. Piccolo from Namek, thank you.
Savage.
I think rocks reveal taboo truth about poneglyphs that cause ripple effect with the Yonko, O'Hara, and the world government erase them from history. Hashtag Shanks is Rox' son. So I'm on board with Shanks being Rox' son, and you're basically on the same track as like the video that I'm going to put out later on that I've already shot. You know, I basically go into that. Rox had to have known the truth. And it had to have had some sort of a ripple effect. You know, it's my belief that Rox is the one that inspired Roger to even find his own conclusion, because Roger was a pirate for decades. You know, I mean, he's nearly 50 years old before he even tried to find the One Piece, right? And when did he start looking? After the God Valley incident. So it had to have been something that he heard or picked up from Rox and all of that. You know, it could have been that Roger and Garp were actually on the wrong side of all of it and didn't realize until Rox was already defeated that they sort of decided, okay, I want to know more about this. Lucy B. On another note, Mark of the Theorist will also be at the Brewery. Yeah, he will be. Emil Diaz said, Odin, the All-Father of Norse mythology, is missing an eye and usually seen with an eye patch. Will we finally get the eye patch pirate at Elbaf? Possibly. You know, Oda has been saving that eye patch. I mean, I've been figuring that it was probably going to end up being someone in the crew. But, I mean, we already have Zoro with one eye, and he's not wearing an eye patch, so who knows. Maxo, thanks. I feel like when Oda drops hints about Luffy being the Sun God or Joy Boy, those are just sanctioned suggestions and not him spoiling plot points. Part of what makes him a really good writer, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it also creates all of this excellent discussion. So, you have to come to your own conclusion. I don't think by the end of it, Oda's going to have a definitive idea of whether or not Luffy is Joy Boy, or maybe Joy Boy, but it is or is not the Sun God. I think that's going to be sort of left up to us to decide and create hour-long theory videos showing all of the imagery of Luffy being the Sun God and all of this and reaching, I don't know. It doesn't affect my enjoyment of the series at all if Oda continues on this trend of making Luffy this destined chosen one. You know, even though that's not what I set out to into One Piece to have, but like we said last week, Oda is creating the definitive story, the story for all stories that encompasses real life and real people and real folk tales and real fables and flips it all together and utilizes everything, even pop culture. So, if the main character is the chosen one, the main character is the chosen one. Young Yeet.
Savage.
I think that Imu-sama will have the umi no mi, the CC fruit in English. Umi. Imu equals umi. What are your thoughts? So that was one of the immediate things that I noticed when Imu was introduced, was that, backwards it was umi, right? That it was the C. And obviously the devil fruits, make you enemies of the sea and all of this. So there's a lot that can be drawn to that with Imu. I was also going on a deep dive earlier into when I was looking into the sun god and all of that. There, in Egyptian history and all of that, there's the sun god Ra, right? And Ra was also, and that sort of also put me down this rabbit hole of Imhotep, right? So then I was sort of thinking about the correlations between Imhotep and Emu, right? And there's kind of a lot that could be said from that, especially if Emu was around during the Void Century. Imhotep is someone that's deified in Egyptian culture and all of that, and even though he was never a pharaoh, he found his way onto being inscribed onto pyramids and things like that by just being a great vizier. And what if Emu was originally the vizier of the king of the ancient kingdom or something, but turned against him, right? And then as a sort of a flip of Imhotep and someone sort of like Orochi, right? Coming in and sneakily trying to gain control, and then we have, the same sort of fallen king theme that Oda continually rehashes. So there's a lot there, and a lot that I'm still sort of formulating as I'm, refreshing and sort of learning more things about Egyptian culture and Imhotep and all that, and potentially worth its own video at some point as well. But I started putting that together when we were looking at the sun god and all of that, because in Egyptian culture there is a literal sun god, which also has ties to snakes, right? Which we talked about. There were because the sun god Ra went to the underworld and fought a snake, and we know that Nola was sort of a avatar for the sun god to the Shandians. So I think that there's something there, and I want to I need to just sort of dive deeper and organize my thoughts better, and might be a video for itself. Let's see. Munir Saman.
Savage.
How long will the Wano arc last? Is it 5 acts or is this the last act? So this could be the last act. It could be 5 acts. This is Oda's story, so he's going to decide that. But we talked about this a little bit in a previous stream where we were trying to figure it out, and I can't imagine that we're going to get any less than 30 more chapters of Wano, because there's still a lot of fights to get through. Luffy's still got to get back to the top of Onigashima, and we still need that Yamato and Kaido flashback. Either way, I think that Act 3 or Wano itself is going to be bookended with that flashback, to sort of parallel the Odin flashback. So we're going to be in Wano for a little bit longer. There's a lot of stuff that still needs to get tied up. Chin said, we still need Wayne D. Bruce for Gifter Batman, though. What I really need is I want a panel where Wayne D. Bruce, aka Batman, right, has been Tama controlled and goes on a team up with Robin. I just need Batman and Robin in a panel together. Either Robin clutching him out of the sky if he ever turns back into himself, or just them working together. Just one panel. Nothing needs to be said about it. We can draw our own conclusions. But I want that.
Savage.
Vern & Co. Greetings from the lunchroom of my new job. Missed the streams. Happy to see you here, my man. Happy to see you here. How's that? I hope the job's going well, man. I hope it's going well. PXPX said, Randy, do you read other manga? I'm not currently reading anything else besides One Piece right now. I am always taking suggestions, but it's more a matter of time, and I don't know if anything right now is going to grab me as much as One Piece does. And I usually start with the anime for something, and I've started a lot of things. It's like I got reasonably far into My Hero a couple of years ago, but it just sort of lost me at a certain point. But maybe I'll pick it back up, and I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I still want to check out. I get so many recommendations for things like Kingdom, Berserk. I've never read them. If Takashi ever drops another Hunter x Hunter chapter, I'll probably do a live reaction to that. I am caught up, although I'd probably have to refresh myself on everything in that arc. It's been a while. Sam Insanity said, hope you talk about the live action and the Reverie. Yeah, I'm always down to it. I think with that platform, it's a great opportunity to quell people's fears and things. Because one of the big things that I always try to let people know, and I will reiterate this at the Reverie, if the topic comes up, is that we've never seen this. It's never happened. It's never happened. An anime live action adaptation in a television format. There have been movies, and yes, the movies failed. And the movies are exactly why anyone and everyone is upset or skeptical about the One Piece live action. However, taking a 30-something episode series like Death Note and putting it to 2 hours is way different than taking all of East Blue, hypothetically, which is only about 15 hours if you take all of the filler and everything out and compress it into, say, 10 hours. Probably can do it. So there's a difference there. Cowboy Bebop, right, is 24 or 26 episodes, and they're doing the live action. So really, that'll be the first thing that we see, and that'll be the way to judge everything. But that's going to be a near one-to-one adaptation, because we're getting, if it's a 24-episode show, or even to 26, if we're getting 13 episodes, can't remember what the order count is, we're going to get, the exact amount of time that every episode of Cowboy Bebop is, because it's going to be hour long, right? So we get 13 hours for 26 episodes, so it should be, an exact recreation at that point. Or it could be. We've never seen that. So, that's the thing.
Savage.
Tonito 60187. Hello, sir. This is your 48-year-old fan. Please be careful at the reverie. Some YouTubers don't reason. They just scream at you to make you look bad. Well, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you. And I really do. I'm not familiar with everybody that's going to be at the reverie and all of that. But one thing I do know is that I don't. I'm gonna call you out if if you're trying to come at me. I'm gonna call you out. Like I'm not. I'm just here, I'm chilling and all of that, and this is all for fun. And I'm gonna treat the reverie the same way. And if anybody comes at me and tries to make me look bad for whatever reason, it's not gonna work. I'm a savage. And I'll be very calm too, because I don't scream, right? So if someone starts screaming at me for whatever reason, they're just going to make themselves look bad. Let's see. Checking the chat. But I love that. I love that. Everybody's saying that Tonito is the oldest One Piece fan. there might be older fans, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Shout out to my guy. I'd love to know, Tonito, how long you've been reading, right? Because you take into consideration, right? That's, if you've been reading since it was started, that's a reasonable age and all that, and you just keep them with the story. Lucy B saying, thinking that she was the oldest here. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it, I see it. I have analytics on YouTube. The median age for the people that watch my stuff are, people in their 30s and 40s anyway. Which is crazy, right? But the thing is like, yeah, I'm in my 30s, but when I started reading One Piece, I was a teenager. So it's just... It's the fact that this show's been going on, this series been going on for 24 years, yeah. Maxo said Jamie Lee Curtis, 100% older. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is a fan of One Piece, people, yes. Very motivated said my mother's going to be 71. She loves One Piece. Yep. Our mothers are the same age. My mom doesn't keep up with it, but she likes it too. When I had it, when I had it on as a kid, and even when she was here visiting, and I would put it on. She was watching it with us. She didn't know what was going on because she hadn't kept up with it, but she was watching it. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici.
Savage.
Teching 101 came up with it, but what do you think about the assumption that King belongs to an underground race inspired by Hades, the Hades or Hell realm? Well, I mean, if it's an inversion of like the Skypeans being angels and all of that, then I could buy it. But I don't know. I mean, we would need a proper underworld, I think, and we haven't really been introduced to that in One Piece yet. You know, we've got above worlds, we've got moons and things like that, but an underworld? We'd have to see. Toby Mustafa.
Savage.
You think Zoro's going to unleash his Conqueror's Honki in Wano similar to Luffy and Marineford from too much damage, pushing his body to the limits? So there's an obvious comparison, right, to Zoro and, like, eating the Mink Senzu bean and, like, Ivankov's stims, right? It's the same thing. Zoro's like, oh, I don't care what happens to my body. You know, we just have to, you know, we have to get through this fight. Luffy was doing the same thing in Marineford. You know, like, I don't care what happens to my body. I got to save Ace. So if there gets to be a point where, you know, we have a similar situation where someone is in trouble, Zoro could. We could get a inversion of that. We could get not only an inversion, we could get a version of that. I think it's very possible. And Zoro needs it. He deserves it, right? You know, if he's supposed to mirror Rayleigh, which is, you know, what we're doing with him as a character to begin with, then yes. But I like the idea of Zoro taking that Luffy role in Marineford through the rest of the battle. I'm here for it. Dizza the Ghost.
Savage.
If you made your own One Piece arc, what kind of villain would you make? What inspiration would the island take after? He said, I'd want a Cajun theme, Luffy and Mardi Gras. So one thing that I always go back to, and one thing that I've always wanted to see is, you know, Bellamy mentioned it in Jaya, right? The Emerald City. And, you know, people have thought that Greenbit could potentially be that. But I'd love something that, you know, sort of drew from different movies and things like that, similar to how, like, Thriller Bark was very, like, Tim Burton-esque and all that. You know, what if we had something that was very Wizard of Oz-like? And, you know, we have sort of this Emerald City type arc. And, you know, everything is green. You got somebody with, like, a monkey Zoan. I don't know. I think that would be kind of interesting. Maybe better as a movie. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici, thanks again.
Savage.
Here's a random thought. What if you could make the gifters snap out of Thomas' control or fight their animals just by making them aware of the effect? So if someone told a gifter that, like, hey, you're being controlled, then they would be like, I'm being controlled? Oh, I'm being controlled. And then they would stop being controlled. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think that that would be the way out of it. I think Tama would actually have to just release them. Emil Diaz said a Gold Brick Road, a Cyborg, a Lion's Own, and Hawkins. Yeah. Sable Otoda 2. Do you think the Goma Fruit Awakening could be used to destroy the red line? Turning it to rubber and then solid again could destroy it. Maybe. There's a possibility that, that's why the government wanted it, to protect the red line or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. I think that the way to destroying the red line is, by utilizing the ancient weapons and taking advantage of like the cracks that Laboon and the other whales have been creating for all these years. Munir Saman, thank you.
Savage.
Oda likes methodology. When I first heard about Kaido the Beast, I thought about Enkidu, the Mesopotamia methodology, who is half beast, half human, the strongest creature on Earth. He dies at the end. So I'm not familiar with Enkidu, but I'm going to actually... I'm going to look that up. Legendary figure in ancient Mesopotamian mythology, wartime comrade and friend of Gilgamesh, king of Uruk. Their exploits were composed in Sumerian poems. I mean, anything's possible. Let's see. So this is interesting. Why was Enkidu killed? Enkidu died instead of Gilgamesh because his purpose was to remove the tyrannic rule over Uruk. The sacrifice of Enkidu was not in vain because the gods are truly testing Gilgamesh because he feared death. He wanted to live forever, so he would not have to experience death. So that could even tie into Emu as well, that idea, but then it could also be an inversion of like Kaido and his propensity for suicide and all of that. There might be something there. I'll read more into it later on. So I'll save that tab and look at it later. Masuyo G sent a sticker.
Savage.
Thank you. The Renowned and Fabled.
Savage.
Bring your jar of glue and tin hat to the reverie. Oh, guys. Chin said, guys, Matt Owens is not the boss. In the end, it's Netflix that decides everything. So that's actually not true, Chin. So Netflix is not the end-all, be-all when it comes to what's happening with One Piece. It would actually be the production company Tomorrow Studios and Oda himself. Netflix is only providing the platform, right? And potentially financing it as well. But they're not necessarily going to have too much of a say over what's happening, in my opinion. It's, you know, especially it's a Netflix original, but it was something that was brought to Netflix first by Tomorrow Studios, so it's a partnership between them. So it's not like Netflix has the you know, they're pulling all of the strings. That's not necessarily how it would work. Like even when David Fincher did House of Cards, right, and it was like the first Netflix show, David Fincher was the one that had, you know, puppeteered all of it. And you know, and even, you know, I worked on Mindhunter, and, you know, watched David Fincher and all of that, and that was a Netflix show as well. And David Fincher basically could do whatever he wanted, and Netflix didn't really get involved. And even Fincher went way over budget for a lot of the stuff, and they were basically just like, well, he kind of started our whole platform, so just let him do what he's doing. So we'll see. Sorry, guys, trying to catch up with everything. Jin said, I don't doubt Matt Owens, Oda, and Tomorrow Studios, but Netflix axed Jupiter Legacy. So I didn't watch that show, but I think that the axe was really that they're doing a spin-off, so it's not necessarily like Jupiter's Legacy is done. I might be wrong with this, but I read something where it's like they're creating a companion show about something in the same world, and like that piece of it may be done where it's like completely focused on that, but then they're doing something else. Phantom SSJ.
Savage.
I am of the idea that some supernova will fall, as not all are meant to rise to the top. I'd like to see Hawkins and Apu fall for taking the easy road. I'd like to see them fall as well, especially since Hawkins is trash. All right? And I'm not a huge fan of Apu either, but, you know, at least he was like, he's consistent. Like, he was like consistently a snake. Hawkins is just out for whatever's best for him. But the thing is that of course people are going to fail, and that was like one of the great things about inventing the supernova in the first place, right? Is that it showed that other people want to be the Pirate King, right? Or at least want to find the One Piece. We weren't necessarily meeting those people in the journey until we got to Sabaody. So, yeah. These are the people that aren't going to make it because Luffy will. But it's interesting seeing their journey nonetheless. Gabe C. Randy, what do you think of Smoker coming to Wano? Last we heard he was going to see Vegapunk, and he also has a loose connection to Wano. So the connection to Wano would obviously be his weapon, right? His Jute, being Sea Stone. Sea Stone was where was created on Wano, right? Which also begs the question, if Wano is so isolated and all of that, how did the world government come across so much sea stone, right? Well, then that obviously would go to this brokering between Doflamingo and all of that, and the world government and CP0, you know, obviously working with Orochi and Kaido to give them the sea stone, I guess. But how did it get in Smoker's hands? You know, that's sort of a question that I'd love to know. Do we know that he's going to come to Wano? Maybe at the tail end, if anything. If we're going to get more information with Mads and Vegapunk and all this stuff, if Vegapunk does come to Wano, since there was the through line of Orochi saying that he wanted Vegapunk to come to Wano, who knows? I do not know if that's going to happen, though. If it does, it's going to, like, you know, it's just going to send Wano into the stratosphere, right? I mean, Vegapunk has been the single longest stretch of a character that has been named without, you know, getting a even so much as a full silhouette, you know, just a little bit of a silhouette. So, if Smoker does come to Wano, then it would have to be with Vegapunk and the kids and all of that, but I don't know, we just have to see more of, you know, where all of this stuff is going to go with Queen, and, you know, if we're going to get some sort of a flashback or more information between that fight between Sanji and Queen. Are we going to get more information about Mads there? I hope so, because it's going to have to tie into all of that, because eventually, you know, Smoker's through line throughout the series is that, you know, it's very obvious that Oda has painted Smoker as the type of person that is eventually going to ally with Luffy against the world government, right? You know, we saw him act that way in Alabasta. We had everything with Punk Hazard. I'm very vocal that I do not believe that Smoker is going to join the crew like Morge does, but he will be an ally. Yeah. Project Black. I was there when Brago smacked Randy Troy. When did Brago smack me? What? Brago and I are cool. What are you talking about? Cheetos 650.
Savage.
I'm still waiting for the Lurking Legend, or if anyone else is going to show up. Any thoughts on that at this point? If anybody's really going to show up in Wano, it's going to be the Revolutionary Army and Blackbeard. Those are the two factions that still have ties to Wano that have not arrived yet, right? It's been set up with Blackbeard this whole time. You know, he's been in every break act. Moria was shown with Blackbeard. Moria has ties to that. The Revolutionary Army, as I sound like a broken record, you know, has ties to everything in Dressrosa with the weapons and all of that. That's actually something that I'd want to do a big video on, why the Revolutionary Army still should come to Wano. Sable Ototo, do you think that Big Mom could be defeated this arc too? No, I do not think that Big Mom's going to get beaten. I think she's going to get away, and that her story will be taken out in Elbaf. So did we find this thing where where Brago apparently slapped me or something? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, look at all this stuff in the chat. Brago's nice, Brago's a sweetheart, all this stuff. Like, yeah. Brago just like commented on the Reverie video I just did, where he was like, laugh my ass off, bro, congrats. Me and Brago are cool. So I don't know what he's talking about. Royal Reno Gaming.
Savage.
It's the job of the D to collect poneglyphs, stories, and leave them at Laughtail. It's a good way to get Robin to all of the poneglyphs without the hunt. Chrissy says it was fake news. Yeah, sounds like fake news to me. Yep. Let's see, it's a job of the D to collect the poneglyph stories and leave them at Laughtail. Well, I mean, you know, it was very smart of Robin to shack up with one of the D to, you know, get to the end anyway. But yeah.
Savage.
Ryo, my guy, asked, what do you think is the future of the warlords? All right, well, I think that some of them might get captured, but I think that the idea really is that, you know, the final war will be like a, you know, even more of an inversion of Marineford, right? Where we'll really have everybody allied, whereas the warlords were working for the Marines and the world government, right, against the pirates and everything. So I think in the final war, they'll be working alongside Luffy to help take down the world government. You know, we'll probably get the return of Doflamingo somehow, you know, probably taking the crocodile role. That Crocodile might even be there himself as well, I would hope. But the one that is most likely to get captured is Hancock, because she has ties to the Celestial Dragons by way of being a former slave. So that's someone that we may have to rescue and all of that, and sort of follow that through line. Mihawk certainly is not going to get captured. I can't imagine that. If he does, that's like wild. That would be a great twist, actually, if Mihawk was the one that got captured. But yeah, I just see them helping out. Arias.
Savage.
Thank you. Any thoughts on Zoro's swords? And if you can see Sandai Katetsu being broken and or replaced. It seems to be his only sword that doesn't seem to have some sort of inherited will that comes with it. So there's been a lot of lot of foreshadowing with the Kitetsus, right? Because you have the Nidai Kitetsu obviously was like shown to us in like the first, like the second chapter of Wano, right? So it seems like the Sandai Kitetsu could break, or Zoro could trade it and upgrade it for the Nidai. I don't see a world where Zoro ends up with both Ame no Habakiri and Enma. I think that Ame no Habakiri will stay with Momonosuke. But I think that we still need a... we're definitely going to have to get a scene where Zoro, like, goes to Ryuma's actual grave, right? And have sort of a parallel to the scene in Thriller Bark where there's, like, the makeshift grave. And kind of redo that with Shusui. I don't know what's going to happen with Shusui. It's really up in the air, right? Because it's like Zoro can only use 3 swords. But there's so many swords that he could walk away with from Wano. And so many swords that he had at one point. You know, and he seems very interested in the Nidai Kitetsu, but if any sword is going to get replaced, it's definitely the Sandai. The Wado Ichimonji is definitely going to stay with him to the end. And if any of the swords is going to turn black first, I would want it to be the Wado. Sally Clark.
Savage.
Off-topic question. Do you think Drake and Law's crews know they're part of Sword? If not, what would their reactions be? So I kind of... like, part of me expects most of Law's crew to, like, actually be Marines. Because they're just, like, so trash at fighting also. They just seem like a bunch of fodder Marines. You know, with the exception of, like, Jean Bart, who, you know, as long as Law said to him, like, hey, you know, like, ultimately we're going after the world government, he probably would have been like, cool, like, I need to get back at them anyway. Mr. Venator, 86.
Savage.
My guy. Appreciate you. Project Black said, I don't know who Chrissy is. Okay. Well, welcome to the channel. Trust me, my white van.
Savage.
When will Zoro get a supreme grade? It's got to be during an intense battle. Maybe after he fights Shiryu. Certainly after he beats Mihawk, like, all 3 of his swords should turn black at that moment. But I think the Wado needs to become a black blade first. And even though there's so much emphasis on it in Wano, I don't know if this is the arc for it to happen. I think this might be the setup for the idea of it to happen in, like, the next arc or something. I need the Zoro pack to turn into a black blade. Gabe C said, really not going to like it if Kobe beats Hancock. That's the only reason to put Kobe and Hancock together, right? Is you got to gas up Kobe. That's the whole thing. Kobe is, we've been with him since chapter 2. We need to see the growth. So... What is going on in the chat? One big dingus.
Savage.
Would you like to see Norse and Greek mythical Zoans in Elbaf? Example, the Jormungandr, Fenrir, Griffin, Typhon, etc. Or is there too many mythicals already? A Griffin would be great. I'm sure that there'll be elements of things with that when we get there. Now you got to remember, well, some people may not know this, is that like a lot of people think Elbaf is an island that can get skipped or something. It's not going to get skipped. The reason Oda even drew One Piece in the first place was because he watched Vicky the Viking, which was something about Norse mythology. So the Norse are what Oda, what gave Oda the inspiration to even do a pirate story in the first place. So Oda's going to flex hard when he gets to Elbaf. And there's going to be a lot of Norse mythology for sure, and it's going to be like I need to start brushing up on it so that I'm ready to talk about it when we get there. But he's the same way he's including all of this Japanese folklore into Wano. He's going to be flexing so hard in Elbaf. So definitely going to happen. Definitely going to happen. But like a giant griffin and all that stuff, it's going to be wild. Mr. Venator, 86.
Savage.
The Baka song Luffy sings with his stick mentions islands of the north, south, west, etc., and runs into a Shandian. Any thoughts? Congrats, the reverie time for savagery. Appreciate you, man. So I think that the Baka song and all that, and when he runs into the goats and all that, I think it just ties into the musical nature of Luffy, which ties into this whole Joy Boy stuff and how it's the spirit of the drum and everything. And I think it's funny that, like, even though he is musical and he loves music and he loves musicians and he wanted a musician to be the first person on his crew, he himself isn't particularly music isn't his strength, right? But it is hilarious. So I think there's just going to be a lot of stuff, like people like to say Skypiea is irrelevant. Like Oda made Skypiea relevant with one panel in the last chapter. Skypiea has always been relevant. And anybody that skipped it and everything like that, like I can't wait to go back to Skypiea and really do a deep dive and see how everything connects once we have more information. And even something like that will be, part of it as well. Amrit Singh, thank you.
Savage.
I think God Valley might be the island where devil fruits originate. That's why the Celestial Dragons were there. World government, CDs have early access, and Rocks wanted control of that. So he accessed all kinds of devil fruits and now disappeared. So that's possible. It's now the devil fruits probably grow on a tree. And we have been introduced to the there's the Adam tree, and then there's the Eve tree, and all of that. So, like, could those be the fruits that actually bear the devil fruits, potentially? Could God Valley have been, somewhere connected to those trees? It's possible. There was, there was the theory that Onigashima was originally God Valley and Kaido moved it. There's also the idea that Shiki could have put God Valley in the sky because, his ability would have been able to do that. That's just another parallel between Kaido and Shiki, that they, can sort of do the same thing. I don't know if Rox wanted access to the devil fruits necessarily, but I definitely see God Valley as like sort of a haven outside of Mary Joa for the Celestial Dragons, and Rox just like showed up to sort of basically mess that all up. This man, Project Black, was like, alright, I was lying. Brago ain't slapped this man. Okay. Yeah. Enough with the fake news. I'm red again. Thanks. Shanks' scar by Blackbeard was due to conquerors. Hence he was surprised. Considers him dangerous and still hurts him. Blackbeard was strong enough to kill Thatch. Due to conquerors. So you think Blackbeard scarred him with advanced conquerors? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we do know that Blackbeard had sort of like a Wolverine claw, and that was like his old weapon prior to getting the Yami Yami no Mi. So, I mean, that's the device that gave him the scar. Now, if you're saying that it was like a flying conqueror's slash from his Wolverine claw, maybe. You just didn't think Blackbeard was that strong, underestimated him, potentially. This man really came in here and said, Chrissy, this is Project Black. I'm going to find you. Mark my words. Alright. If you find her, you find me, bro. Like that's... Just give it up, man. Like, my channel's not about this. Alright? Princess Taco.
Savage.
I decided to check Aztec mythology out after the reveal. I found the 5th sun myth. I found a lot of references like the creation of fishmen, and 4 stones symbolizing 4 failed generations more. Fifth sun myth. A lot of references, like the creation of fishmen. Interesting. I definitely want to look into this. The fifth sun myth. The fifth sun, called fourth movement, is ruled by the sun god. Okay. The fifth sun is characterized by the day sign Olin. I doubt that has any sort of tie to Big Mom, but that is funny. Which means movement. According to Aztec beliefs, this indicated that the world would come to an end through earthquakes, and all the people will be eaten by sky monsters. Okay, so now we're getting into something spicy here. The world would come to an end by earthquakes, right? One of the main antagonists of the series has an earthquake power. Eaten by sky monsters. Well, we know that we have sea kings, right? We have land kings, and we haven't seen the sky kings yet, but I believe that they exist. This is fun. This is fun. I'm definitely gonna dive into this. I like this taco. That's cool. I'm definitely gonna read more on that. Mark Creasy. Hey, yo, Randy, I just got a new job. I'm going to become a member again Monday. Sorry for the drop-off. Hey, there's no obligation, man. People want to become a member, you know, that's cool. You want the emojis, you know, all that stuff. Like, it's all good, man. It's all good. You do you. You know, at this, I never want a situation where people are overextending themselves with the memberships, all of that. Like, I opened it so that people could have the emojis, people want to support the channel, all of that. Like, it's all good. It's all good, man. But I appreciate you. All right, catching up with the chat. Chin said Chrissy needs to watch G8. Yeah, she didn't watch it. The big meme that is Con Dioriano. I tried to explain it to her one time. I'm Rit.
Savage.
I noticed the world government flag is like Laugh Tale and the 4 Rhode Islands. Yeah, right in the middle. 4 road poneglyphs leading to the one place. That's definitely a part of the symmetry for sure. I mean, the imagery. We got a new member. Giannis Sava. Thanks for joining.
Another one.
Appreciate you. Shantanu Engel.
Savage.
Do you think that maybe Toki pushed God Valley to the future in the current timeline? That would make her power so broken if she could disappear an entire island and then just make it appear somewhere else. I think that God Valley has always been there, or at least it was probably originally something else, and then during the Void Century, the Celestial Dragons took it over and turned it into what it was, and then Rox went and tried to correct it, and somehow Roger and Garp found themselves there as well. Oh, another new member. That Indie Glow.
Another one.
Appreciate you. Thanks for joining. So we get a new, Gabe C said, new emoji soon. So we get an emoji at 100. I can take a quick look to see where we're at. Because we did get quite a few members in this stream. So we're at 93. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new members this stream so far. When eventually we get another 7, we'll get a new emoji. Oh, and speaking of that, Carlos Echeverria, thank you for joining.
Another one.
Appreciate you, man. Let's see. Super chat from Powell Warchall.
Savage.
Theory. Wano greater importance is that it maybe was the Ancient Kingdom or part of it. Look at Wano. It looks like puzzle pieces. One is missing. So I brought up the idea that Wano could have potentially been the Ancient Kingdom. Or at least a part of it. What I more so like is the theory, which is not mine, but that, it's we know that Ors was known as the continent polar, right? And Wano itself looks like it's like 7 or 8 islands stitched together. So what if they were other islands somewhere, and Ors just sort of using a giant chain pulled them together and put them on top of something. So that's a possibility as well. And I've always liked that. And if that's not exactly the theory, then that might be something that I put my own spin onto, but that's at least what I adhere to for it, mostly. But Wano definitely has greater importance and a tie to the Ancient Kingdom for sure, along with Alabasta, along with Jaya, along with the Shandians, Elbaf. These are all islands that share Fisherman Island, that all share sun imagery and different things like that, and are sort of outside of the world government's purview. So yeah, they're all protecting something. That's why they have the poneglyphs Zo as well. They are the keepers of the history, waiting for the truth, waiting for that 800 years to finally appear so that everything can manifest. 2 new members. Oscar Cruz, thank you.
Another one.
And Paulo Warshall, thanks.
Another one.
see. Do. This is the ghost. Chrissy and Randy got a hockey clash and split the sky. That's fun. Tay Day said, "Be safe in NYC, y'all. Weather is so bad." Yeah. Yesterday was intense on my block. There was like all of this flooding, and there's like some construction going up the street, and like all of this dirt is like coming down, and traffic cones and road barriers were like hitting cars and stuff. Yesterday was wild. Today it's kind of nice out. At least it looks nice out from my window. But yesterday was bad. Catching up. Oh. Sun Churchland. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
Savage.
Emotep/Emu could want to drag the Nefertiti/Nefertari back into the Celestial Dragons by marrying Vivi. Nefertiti is the Lady of the Two Lands and the main king's wife. My real tinfoil, Vivi is a Celestial Dragon conqueror like Dofi, but she'll bring global peace. So technically, had the Nefertari clan stayed in Mary Joa, Vivi would be a celestial dragon, right? But they chose to split, much like Homing did. However, they maintained a relationship with the world government in Alabasta and all of that. So I think it's very likely that, you know, whoever was the king during that time was probably split. You know, it was like sort of like secretly along with the alliance and everything like that, and went along with the sun imagery and all of that, but played their role, right, to keep their family safe and all of that, which now is coming to a head as this prophecy is starting to manifest itself. And, you know, Cobra put himself in danger. He put Vivi in danger by wanting too much information. But there may be, you know, I was bringing up the, you know, everything with Emotep and potentially comparisons to Emu as well. And I'm going to look more into Nefertiti and see how that could potentially tie into that as well. But I love the Egyptian angle for all of it. Look at those VVs in the chat. Con D. Oriano, could you interview Matt Owens? I mean, I don't know what, you know, that'd probably be better for after the season has already come out or something, you know, to talk about, you know, it'd just probably be more interesting then. I think a conversation now would probably be like, yeah, you know, COVID halted production, blah, 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 and, you know, we're getting ready to gear up. You know, I think that's probably what would happen. I mean, not that I would be opposed to it, of course. Giovanni Velez said, does anyone think that Rayleigh told Shanks about the One Piece? That's why he doesn't search for the poneglyphs and he believes in Luffy, or, you know, bet on the new era. I mean, it's possible. I think that Shanks does know information about it, you know, and I mean, like, Roger himself could have told him as well. Or maybe Shanks also didn't want to know because he wanted to go there with Buggy, which also makes me think that, you know, Shanks will get to Laugh Tale at some time with Buggy. Or at least he should. He definitely knows something. He knows enough. He knows about Joy Boy for sure. He knows what the prophecy is. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Just checking through here, checking through. Cool. I think I'm caught up here. Sabelo Toto. What do you think of Hiyori having the time fruit and using it to create a hyperbolic time chamber so Momo, Tom, and the rest of the Strats can train and grow older faster? Not entirely interested in that. Because, you know, to me that would be no different than all of the theories that Bonnie and or Shinobu could age up some of these characters. They're still going to be mentally young, right? If you create a hyperbolic time chamber effect and they just age and they live out that time, they're not necessarily growing because they're staying in one place, right? And growth comes with age and doing things and experiencing life. So doing a hyperbolic time chamber thing just to get them older, all that does is essentially, like, it jails them for many years. You know, it's like a prison at that point. They're not, you know, maybe they're training, but they're not learning anything. They're not living. And that's the same thing with the whole aging them up, so that I don't think they need to be aged up because they're still going to be mentally 8 years old. So I think we just need to get around the idea that they're 8 and that's it, and that's fine that they're, you know, kids, because Shanks and Buggy were also kids for, you know, on Roger's crew. So if they join, etc., 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 it's okay. You know, I mean, we have somebody on the crew that's 90 years old. It's fine if we have, you know, 2 8-year-olds as well. Piccolo from Namek said kind of like Shazam. I don't even necessarily want like a Shazam effect, right? Because I mean, you watch Shazam, Well, I think you're actually agreeing with me, right? So it'd be like Shazam, yeah. You know, Shazam turns into someone that's older and stronger and has powers and all of that, but they're still mentally the age of the kid. So not here for that. Buggy is going to die and forgive Shanks by risking his life to save Shanks. Buggy's not dying. Buggy's not dying. All of the gods are not dying. The goats are not dying. All right, Buggy's not dying. God Usopp is not dying. I know a lot of people think that Usopp's going to die at the end of the series. It's not happening. Usopp is the avatar of the reader, right? That's why Oda created Usopp. He's a normal person surrounded by monsters. He is supposed to be the eyes of us. So if Oda ever killed Usopp, it would be like he was killing you, he was killing me, and all of that, right? And Buggy, it's sort of, you know, you're not gonna kill a perfect comic relief character like that. Not happening. The story doesn't gain anything from Buggy dying. It would be sad. I'd be upset. But the story doesn't gain anything. Yanasawa. Is Moria dead? I don't think so. I think he's I think he realized that Blackbeard could kill him and all that, and he's sort of waiting for his opportunity to get back at Blackbeard for Absalom, but is working with him to sort of save his own skin. But then again, we could end up seeing one of his crewmates at some point, and then they like have the Kage Kage no Mi, and it'd just be like, oh wow, Moria's dead. I don't see it happening though. Turned into a DC chat for a little bit. Enigma Sword said, Man of Steel, Wonder Woman 1, Shazam, and Snyder Cut are the best ones. Put some respect on Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition. Not the theatrical release. The extended cut with the extra 30 minutes. The Renowned and Fabled.
Savage.
Do you think Tama will try to give Momo a Kibidango? Could that help him move past his weaknesses and make full use of his Dragon Devil Fruit? Potentially, right? If he can't get over his fear of heights, Tama could feed him a dango and say, hey, get over your fear of heights, and then he would get over his fear of heights. But that doesn't allow Momonosuke to get over it his own way, which would be a cheap way of going about it. So, while it could happen, right, and Tama could make full use of Momonosuke by giving him a dango, I don't think that it should. I think that Momo needs to get over his own things. Now, in a likely scenario where Tama and Momonosuke join, right, that gives an opportunity in a later arc for Tama to use a Kibidango on Momonosuke as sort of like a rumble ball. Like maybe he gets hurt or something like that, and Tama feeds him a kiwi dango, and then like he like buffs up and starts feeling better, but you know he's not really better, but he thinks he is. You know, maybe there's something to that. I don't know. We got a new member, Vasil Vlad Ivanovici.
Another one.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Chrissy said, Buggy is eternal. That's truth. Buggy's the lurking legend, said Barry. Pedro said, hey, too late for the stream, but happy I can pass by to say hello. You're not too late. We're still streaming. I love this, though. You know, like, I came into this with no expectations. I came into this sort of, like, just relaxed and just sort of talking with everybody. And, you know, that's... We've been able to turn it into, like, you know, a healthy break week discussion. You know, we still have 260 people in here. It's cool. Probably end pretty soon. But, you know, this is fun. Three New said, in 992, Black Maria sings on a snowy night, two who wished to be united but couldn't meet at last beneath the moonlight. This has to be foreshadowing, right? Any thoughts on who this is referring to? It could refer to a lot of people. I think that if it has to play into this particular arc, Momonosuke and Hiyori being reunited underneath the moonlight would be good. You know, I think that's one way for it to happen. But I think that realistically, it's probably an old song from the Void Century, and we'll get more of that later on. You know, we get that Void history flashback, and we'll be able to, you know, we'll start we'll get introduced to new characters that were split apart. You know, maybe it's some sort of Romeo and Juliet type thing, or, you know, if there is sort of a split kingdom or anything like that, there could be someone from one kingdom that's in love with someone from the other, and, you know, we're sort of following that through line, and everything is happening and everything's falling apart, and they want to be together under the moonlight, but they cannot. And Joy Boy makes a song out of it. I don't know. I mean, I'm hardcore tinfoil right now. Chin said, no expectations. Randy underestimates us. I don't mean no expectations for you guys. I mean, like, I didn't come into this like, all right, this is what we're going to talk about today. I came in here with full expectations that I could hit the button, say I'm live, and that you guys would come in here and we would be able to just discuss One Piece, because we can talk about this all day. All day. I mean, I can't, because I have obligations. But, you know, 2 or so hours, yeah. Yeah, I have all faith that you guys, that us together, can keep a conversation going long enough to, you know, come up with some interesting theories and have fun. And that's what this is all about. It's all about fun. It's all about fun. If you guys aren't having fun, then I'm sorry. You know, I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. New member. Gene Salazar.
Another one.
Another one. Appreciate you. Thank you. Blackbeard said, "Don't worry, the next chapter will explain the Void Century." Don Quixote D. Joker going on about Tama being a plot device again. I don't... You keep using this word. I don't think you know what it means. Emil Diaz going dark. Damn, if Momo becomes Shogun and Tama feeds him a dango, then Tama becomes the secret ruler of Wano, the Dark Shogun. Oh, man. going dark. But that's also why I think that Orochi had that fruit and was planning to use it, probably to do exactly what Tama is doing, taking control of Kaido's armory in the event that Kaido would turn on Orochi. Somehow it fell out of his clutches, ended up in his daughter's hands anyway. Sable Otoda 2. Do you ship Luffy and Boa? Do you think the Straw Hats will find love other than adventure by the end? So I don't necessarily care about shipping and all of that. But if I was going to ship anyone, and I've said it before, it's Luffy and Vivi for me. But, much to Chrissy's dismay, who does love Boa. I think that everybody will. They'll find something. We'll get a nice epilogue with all of that. But that's not what the story's about right now. Don Quixote D. Bellamy doesn't understand what foreshadowing is. Morales said, "What are we at now?" I'll have to check. Dark King Tama. Galaxy Vita, did you know that Wanze has a shirt with Mads on the back? This dude was also a part of it. So it's not Mads, but it's Mad, right? So I do know that he has that shirt. I don't know if it is going to necessarily tie into that. I don't get the impression that Wanze was like particularly smart or like a scientist. Was he their cook? I don't know. I think it might just be a stylistic choice. See. Okay, so we're at 97. Wow. Never in my life did I think we were going to have this amount of members on the channel. But I also never thought I'd have 13,000 subs to talk about One Piece. It's amazing. Giovanni said, Randy, no way. It's Luffy and Boa, a play on Chi-Chi and Goku style relationship. It's definitely a play on Chi-Chi and Goku. Where I said, Devil Child 2, Dango Boogaloo. Super chat from Warren.
Savage.
Congrats on joining the Reverie, man. Keep up the climb. Sorry for the small super chat. Man, it's not small. I mean, like that. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, man. You know, we're going there. We're going to the Reverie. I'm excited about it. You know, it's interesting. You know, because it's like a lot. I know that a lot of you guys, maybe even in the chat, you know, like found the channel through last year's Reverie, right? Because they were talking about the Law video, which I never expected. Like that was just wild, you know. A year ago, we had 400 subs. You know, that was it. And then in the matter of like a couple of days after that shout out, you know, we went to like 3,000 within the first like 2 weeks of that. It was wild. You know, so now went from being mentioned at the Reverie to now we're gonna be in it talking with all these guys. And it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, you know, if I can get a word in. So Powell said, is there a date for this Reverie? Yeah, it's going to be July 17th. It's going to be on Mr. Morge's channel. He's hosting it this year. Roger's Base hosted it last year, so it was on Roger's channel last year. But there's like 30 people that are, you know, going to be in this. So it's, you know, it's going to be kind of crazy. People might be going in and out, but I'm not sure. Chad Ocho said, yep, Reverie last year was how I found the channel. Happy as heck to be here. Happy as heck to have you here. Giovanni Velez, yes, sir, that's how I found Randy. Yeah, it's cool. You know, I'm very grateful to all the other YouTubers that, you know, shouted me out to allow me to have the platform grow as much as it did. You know, and the biggest, you know, I'm always vocal about it, but the biggest supporters of that, you know, was Ragnar, Brago, Roger, and Sunpatch. They were the ones that like really shouted out the Law video first. You know, Ragnar tweeted it out, and Brago shouted it out in a video. That's what got us to 1,000. And then Sunpatch brought it up at the Reverie, and Roger put it on the screen at the Reverie. It was cool. Piccolo from Namek said that's because your intros are mad lit. I love doing those intros. I love it. You know, you gotta set it right. Like the whole point of those intros is like that's me trying to capture the hype. Like, I'm trying to visualize my hype for One Piece, for the chapter. That's what I'm doing. I'm just putting it out there. You know, goes back to the days, you know, before I was like doing YouTube stuff, and it would be like, you know, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you know, depending on what year it was, and then I'd just sort of be sitting around, and then something would hit me, and I'd be like, oh wait, One Piece, it's out. And then in my head, you know, even before Bobby Shmurda was a thing, he started dancing in my head. And Roy Williams coming in. Piccolo from Namek. Momo isn't a Smile user. This is correct. But he's still... it's probably still the same idea. It's using the same lineage factor principle. So I still think that Tama's Dango would work on him. Not that we ever need to find out. But... Yep. Powell said, and you got the most W's of them all. It's just fun. It's just fun. Even when I do the another one thing, like, it's never bragging. It's never bragging because I don't care. I really don't. I just think it's fun. MF Doom, he liked DB Cooper, said also instead of it saying Team Perisparrow on your title card, I wish it said Randy Troy with conviction. See, I was kind of upset with that too. Like Team Perisparrow, like like I like Perisparrow, but for that to be my classification, like. I don't know. Like, it really should have just said Team Savage. That's why, like, I edited it when I took it and I put the video, I put Savage on top of it. And it was also, like, they didn't even put the Savage sound effect.
Savage.
Like, I feel like that's a staple of the channel, but I don't know. Morge said that Sticky Nut Juice, the guy who was making the trailer, like, does not watch the channel. So he didn't know. So I guess, and he, like, based on what he was doing with the first video, I think he was like finding people that were talking about Carrot, so he probably went immediately to 1006 to see what I said about Perisparrow and Carrot and just picked a clip from that. But would I have chosen something different? Yes. Would I have had the Savage sound effect in the thing? Yes. Would I have had it say Team Perisparrow? No. There's a lot of things that it could have said. Like there's so many like there's so many memes and inside jokes within the channel that it could have been any of those and it wasn't. But hey, whatever. Justin O'Malley said pretty savage clip though. Oh, it was savage. Yeah. I actually wish it like kept the part after that in the video, because immediately after I say that, I like literally turned to my mic and said Savage into the mic, which would have been a better clip to begin with. Andrew Hunter said, I just started my rewatch on Impel Down, and when Luffy first talked to the prisoners, one said, it's like you were born to free us, which I believe is a sneaky hint to 1018. On top of that as well, going back to Impel Down, Jinbei, and I forgot to mention it in the video, and I had the clip set aside, but I forgot to put it in, was Jinbei, right before Luffy comes and saves him, he talks about how he's waiting for a miracle. Right, which goes back to everything with the sun god Nika and everything as well, and shows that Jinbei probably is a man of faith and does worship the sun god Nika. And yeah. And then I also think it's interesting that I found the ties to Jayabaya as well that we went into in the analysis, and how that ties to Jayabaya was a sort of an avatar for Vishnu, right? And then in the recent Vira card data packs, it was revealed that if Jinbei was from anywhere in the world, he would be from India. So it all kind of like ties together in a lot of subtle ways. Nope said, I always look forward to seeing your videos whenever a chapter drops. I appreciate that. Thanks. Randy, another one, Troy. Jin said Morge needs to hire me for what? Pro DLC. Are you excited to be part of the Reverie, Randy? I am excited for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, I mean, it just goes back to why I started doing One Piece content on the channel to begin with, is because I wanted to talk about One Piece with people. So, I think it's going to be fun. You know, if you guys have been following the channel for a while, I'm probably going to bring up a lot of stuff that, you know, I've already talked about, but it'll be fun to hear, you know, their spins on it or anything like that. Or if, well, we're not going to talk about 1019 will be released, but we're not going to talk about 1019 because the official's not going to come out yet, and we don't want to spoil people like Roger who, you know, wait for the official and anything like that, and for anybody really that waits for the official. So anybody that's official only will be safe in the Reverie. So we're not going to talk about 1019, but we'll continue talking about everything that we're talking about now. Nika, other theories, etc. Yeah. David Estrada said, "Can I get a Savage?"
Savage.
Savage? Chin said the live action release will blow up this channel. Well, I definitely am going to do videos on the live action episodes and definitely go in depth when they are released from a, you know, film perspective, and, you know, talk about the actors, the shot choices, the direction, you know, like full on, you know, reviews. And I also, you know, I want everybody to expect this, because at some point in the future, like, I am going to expand the channel beyond One Piece as well, you know, because this is not, I don't want this to only be a One Piece channel. I'm always going to talk about One Piece. I'm always going to keep doing theories and all of that, but I want to get comfortable enough to where I can start doing videos on, like, my experiences in the film industry, which are separate from One Piece, maybe film reviews. You know, like, I love movies and things, so I want to talk about that as well. And, you know, this channel isn't Randy Troy's One Piece channel. It's just the Randy Troy channel. So, you know, I don't care if a video gets, you know, 2 views on it or whatever. Like, if it's fun for me, I'm gonna do it. So that's it. Osama Khan said, big fan from Pakistan. Thank you. Happy to hear that. Happy to have you here. Calendar Lampbat, Savage checking in. What's poppin', Randy? Lots poppin'. We're poppin'. Chat's poppin'. Chin said no more collabs with Brago, JD Legend. I mean, I'm literally collabing with them next Saturday. I plan on, probably after the Reverie and all of that, now that I'll have, some sort of like established conversations with a lot more people and everything, we can start turning this into, break weeks, maybe into features and all of that, and, do one-on-ones or one-on-twos, and, like get 3 people in here and kind of discuss things every once in a while. It might be fun to switch it up. I just have to figure out how to do everything here with OBS and incorporate their audio and all of that. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a situation where I have their audio come out of my computer and go into the microphone. There's a lot of technical stuff that I just need to work out before I can do that. But, I'm just really on my, like, J. Cole vibe over here. No features. But I'll change that. I'll change that soon. Joker said, we want Hunter x Hunter content. Well, I mean, Chrissy's, starting to watch it and all of that. We're going to do stuff where Chrissy's watching it, and then I'll have my own comments on it. I don't know what more I can give to the series. I've already seen it and read all of it, but very motivated.
Savage.
Is there any topic in particular you're most excited to talk about for Reverie? Well, I'm really just excited to just talk about One Piece in general. That's hey, there's nothing in particular that I'm like super excited about. I guess it would be fun to. I do hope that the live action does get brought up, because that's something, I hate seeing people trash it before it's come out. That just bugs me, because I know it's going to be good, and I know it's going to be something special. I know it's going to be something different, and I think it's a great stage to be able to sort of quell those fears, similar to how Matt did in the 8th Reverie. A lot of people changed their tune on it after they heard Matt, but there's still a lot of people that are skeptical about it. And they're not thinking about it from the technical aspect that it's possible. That's possible. So I'd like that. But I just want to, go theory for theory on people, with people as well. Like, it's going to be sort of like a chaotic overload, because, like, a lot of these people I've never communicated with. I get so many requests to collab with different people, like Brago, like Joy Boy, Tekking, all this stuff. I mean, I've had conversations. I did a trivia thing with Tekking. Brago and I have had some conversations. Joy Boy I've only talked to on Twitter, back and forth on different tweets and stuff. But I know that he wanted to do something at some point. So I don't know. I just want to talk about theories. I'm not excited about power scaling and all that other stuff. Like I'm not looking forward to any sort of toxicity about like who's going to join the crew and all of this stuff. But if there's room to let everybody breathe and get their theories out and all of that, that'll be fun. Vedant Singh said, will you create another channel to talk about different anime? I never want to create another channel. I know a lot of people, do it, and I know that YouTube punishes you if you, like, start creating different content, and then, like, say I start doing film reviews, right? And my film reviews start getting, I don't know, like... All right, so I'll put a chapter analysis out, and I'll get maybe, like, somewhere between, like, 8 to 10,000 views on it, which is still like wild to me. If I put a film review out and it gets like say 200 views, because the majority of the channel is like One Piece centric, So they're not like, oh, I don't really care about this movie. I just want to hear Randy talk about One Piece. So they don't like actually watch it. So I'm like building a new following ship. Because I'm doing that, it may send you guys, the way YouTube sets it up, it may show my videos less to you. And then you might be saying, man, Randy hasn't put a video out in a while. But I have. I've been putting reviews out every week or something. You know, this is the way that it may go when I start doing this. So that's why it's important to, I guess, have the bell notification or something. But it may, like, punish me in that sense. Like, I won't show up higher in, like, One Piece searches because the channel is so broad at that point. I'm doing multiple things. I'm not just talking about One Piece. But I just don't want to do the technical aspect of, all right, well, now I have to log into this other thing and I have to do this and all this. Like, I just want my channel to be me because I'm me. I didn't make my name something like, you know, One Piece related or anything. Like, it's just me. I've had this channel for years, for over a decade. Like, if you go back, there's way other stuff. Like, there's, you know, short films that I've done. There's music videos, documentaries, stand-up comedy, like impressions. There's things like that. Like, the One Piece content really didn't resume until, I guess, like 2019. You know, I used to do some One Piece stuff in like 2005, but that was on my old channel that got canned because of copyright. But I still, you know, I mean, like, but then you see someone like Roger Space, right? He does One Piece content, but then he still puts the Naruto stuff on there, and he puts Nintendo stuff, and he's still golden, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna follow in that way because, like, if people, I guess, if people are, a lot of people do what I do, right? They talk about One Piece. But I assume that you guys come to these streams and you watch my videos because it's my perspective and it's you want to hang out with me and like all of that, right? I'm just assuming. So that's sort of the way I want to tackle it. It's like, I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about, whatever interests me, because that's what this is. This is my hobby. You know, I want to just be me and be the most truest version of me. And yeah, you can watch everybody else. You can do what, you can check out other people's content. But if you're coming to me just to hear about One Piece, then maybe I'm doing it wrong. I'm not putting enough of myself into it at that point. So I would hope that people wanted my opinions on other things and other topics and other animes and other movies and films and like just like life stuff. So that's sort of the way that I want to expand things. And then still I also have my creative endeavors and all of that, my own writing, my own stories, films, stuff that, you know, as things, you know, are continually easing up with the pandemic, I'll be able to put other like creative content out as well. And that's fun. Catching up on the chat, I definitely went on a tangent. Let's see. Ryo said, I'm a big fan of Jeremy Johns. Chris Stuckman movie reviews would be awesome. Yeah. Those guys, you know, they do great stuff, and it's like, you know, I just want to bring my own perspective on it. You know, I had thought about doing a review for In the Heights when it had come out because I had worked on it, and I was going to, like, do my perspective on that. I may still, but, like, do it as, like, a different series about, like, just talking about different stories that I have from things that I've worked on. Might be fun. You know. And then it's like, cool stuff that Mars can find later on in life. Oh man, I missed a lot in the chat. Sorry, guys. MF Doom, he liked DB Cooper, said favorite movie that came out last year, Palm Springs. Loved it. That was an incredible film. I was very happy that it got nominated for a Writers Guild Award, and it didn't win, but the script was awesome. It's cool. Like, I'm in the Writers Guild, and every when it gets to be like award season, they send us like screeners. They send us like the DVDs of the films, and like because I'm in the Writers Guild, they also send the scripts. So that's awesome. Like I get to read the script as well. And Palm Springs was just a really fun take on like the Groundhog Day sort of element style film, and I could go on about it. I could gush about it. I thought it was so awesome. But from a more award-worthy perspective, I would say Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal should have won in pretty much all of the acting categories, in my opinion. Riz Ahmed should have gotten Best Actor, and Paul Raci was like fantastic in his supporting role. I recommend both of those movies. Sound of Metal, Palm Springs. Michael Braxton said, have I ever met a famous actor? Yes. You name them, I've probably met them, actually. I think it would be hard to find someone I haven't actually met. Let's see. Michael Braxton, who's your favorite actor of all time? My favorite actor is Christopher Walken, but the most inspirational figure to me in that world is Arnold Schwarzenegger. See, so much in the chat, trying to catch up on. Have I met a famous person who likes One Piece? Not yet. And usually when I'm on set or anything like that, I have a keychain of like the Stride logo, and none of the actors that would be like, you know, big names or anything I pointed out. Maybe someone like on the lower end or. Real Mo 1, what do you think about the MCU movies coming out? So I'm excited to check out Black Widow. Chrissy went and saw it yesterday. She really liked it. She thought it was amazing. So I need to catch up, and I need to see that. The MCU needs to take advantage of the fact that they got the rights to the X-Men and Fantastic Four and all of that back, and they need to start incorporating the X-Men stuff into their stories. I was very disappointed that they did not use WandaVision as a way to tie in the greater multiverse and Magneto into the story. Super missed opportunity. Should have had Magneto in it. Gabe C., what did you think about Parasite, Randy? Assuming you've seen it. I loved it. Amazing. Deserved every award it got. And I was there for Bong Joon-ho when he won his Writers Guild Award. Chrissy and I went to the awards, and he gave a hilarious speech. It was great. Loved it. Ryo said, Arnold's life as a movie, man has done so much, you know it. Awesome12 said, I heard Taika Waititi was a One Piece. Oh, that's right. He did have that shirt on, and I have actually met Taika Waititi, so so I guess I've met him, but we didn't talk about One Piece. Triple Threevil. Randy, I just want to say hi. I'm glad I somehow found you before the Law video, and to see you make it this far is magical. Keep up the great YouTube content. Appreciate that. Yeah. I remember, you were shouting that video out on different Discords and all of that. And, you're probably just as much to help, because I know you were spreading the video out. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Giovanni said, Randy's impressions are amazing. The 1018 review video is now a classic. Yeah, that blew up on Twitter. That Who's Who thing I did. Like, I was looking at the impressions of it. Like, I've never had a tweet, do anything like that. 200-something thousand people saw the tweet to begin with, and it had over 50,000 views on Twitter of just that clip from Always Sunny. Unreal. Ahmed Taha said, what role would you want to play if you had to act in the live action? So a lot of people have asked me this, and I thought about it, and I think if I was to actually cast myself in any role in One Piece, right? And being realistic of my type and my range and where I would actually fit, I don't know if, there are characters that I like more, right? I don't have the build to play like a Bellamy, that's not, even though I love Bellamy, I wouldn't cast myself as Bellamy. I don't know if I would cast myself as Marco, right? But I would cast myself as Corazon. So if I was going to play anybody in that, if I was, anything like that, I would love to play Corazon in the Law flashback. Everybody's asking my thoughts on all these movies. Schnoz Champ, Randy, how was working on Gotham? It was a lot of fun. Did the pilot. Did a little bit of season 1 and 2, did all of season 4, did some of season 5. A lot of great people. The series was just plagued because there was so much that they wanted to do, but they couldn't because it was a Fox show, but a Warner Brothers property. So every season they had to fight for the rights on different characters, and it was like, even in the first season, they only had the rights to, like, the Penguin, Riddler, Gordon, the name Bruce Wayne, it's like, just like names, Alfred. And Warner Brothers would never give them the rights to Joker. It was just too expensive. And it's like, if they bought the rights to Joker and continued to follow that through line with Jerome and all of that, and actually make him the Joker by name, the series would have just not been able to do so much other stuff. So that's why they named him Jerome Velasquez and sort of made it like an anagram, or whatever, where you can rearrange the words and you can basically spell Joker. Giannis, do I consider One Piece to be in the superhero genre? This has turned into an AMA now. This is great. Kind of. But I would put it more in the fantasy adventure category. Renown and Fable said that Law video blew up like crack in the 80s. Wow. Let's see. Whew. Without saying, I'm excited to see Riddler as the villain in the Robert Pattinson Batman. So I'm a little iffy on the Pattinson Batman, only because I wanted a Ben Affleck Batman movie. And I'm a huge Batman fan, so I want to definitely do Batman content on this channel at some point. And I'm excited for the film. And I'm excited for Matt Reeves to sort of do a detective story, because that's all I've ever wanted with Batman, is for him to be the world's greatest detective. And I love a darker, edgier Riddler. But I think the best way to sort of do a Batman movie would be to really embrace the detective side, but then also embrace sort of the stranger things about Batman. Don't step away from the craziness, sort of lean into it as it is a comic. All of this stuff about grounding him and making him real and doing the Nolan thing, I even worked on The Dark Knight Rises, and I saw all the grittiness and all the pieces come together, and I just feel like that's not Batman. But I see that what Zack Snyder was doing with Batman was actually was the closest it's ever been. They just didn't let him do exactly what needed to be done. Jonathan Joestar, would you consider reviewing books? I'm not that much of a book reader. I'm more of I prefer film and television. Nothing against books. All right. I just saw how long we've been going, guys. I never expected this. I thought I was going to do like an hour-long stream today, but I think that's probably how I come into all of them, and then I find out how long I've really been going. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start wrapping things up. Let's do final questions and all of that, and then I'm gonna eat something, hang out with Mars and Chrissy. But this was awesome. This is one of the best break week streams that we've had, I think, just because it was just, not that any of the other ones were bad. I also like the old theories one. But a lot of them, I feel like it's like more me talking, and this was more us talking, and I like that. So The Renowned and Fabled said, Robert Pattinson's actually a really great actor. People just think he's crap because they didn't like the Twilight movies. The next Batman movie would be awesome. Now, look, I'm not saying that Robert Pattinson is going to be a bad Batman. I think he's going to be great. I'm just worried about the tone of the film, because I think that it's still trying to harken back to the Nolan films, which I think miss the mark on tone. The Dark Knight is great, but it's Nolan's Batman. It's not Batman, right? So while I think that Robert Pattinson is going to do a fine job, I think he's going to be great. He's like most scenarios, he's going to surprise everybody. Everybody was upset about Ben Affleck, but he killed it. I think he's the best Batman that's ever been, and I'm a huge Keaton fan. Well, granted, Conroy is the best Batman, but live action wise, Ben Affleck. I just think that the tone needs to accept the comic book roots, which it looks like it's like sort of doing its own Nolan-y thing. Shout out to Dred Scott. Career tips for an aspiring writer that isn't just keep writing. So the first tip is to drop the word aspiring. Okay? Because do you write? Because if you write, you're a writer. That's the bottom line. Never tell anybody that you're an aspiring writer, because it just sounds like you're not doing it yet. You're that guy that's sort of sitting there saying, I want to write, I want to do it, but I'm not doing it. If you're a writer, you're a writer. If you write something, you're a writer. So that's the mental block to get over first. And yeah, a bunch of people say just keep writing and all that stuff. I mean, like, there is some truth to that, because the more you write, the better you get, the more stuff that you have. I don't know what type of writer you are, if you're, because there's a lot of, if you're, I can only speak about screenwriting, but if you're, like a novel writer or anything like that, then I don't necessarily have too much knowledge for that. But yeah, I think I would need to know what area of writing you wanted to do it, so then I could sort of like laser focus a little more. Because if you're talking about film writing, then I would suggest getting set experience, and so that you understand the ebbs and flows of how production works, how a schedule works, because then you can tie that into your writing, because you need to understand that there's a cost for everything. And if the stuff that you're writing is too outlandish, or if you have too many locations and too many scenes, that can make it harder to produce, right? So the more that you can have someone come back to a similar location and all of that, it's more producible. But at the same time, you don't want to inhibit your creativity. You want to be able to flesh out what you want to write, but you also want to keep some of these things in mind, because even though you want to be creative and you want to have the best foot forward, it is a business at the end of the day. And I'm assuming that you're asking me this, and that you're putting it in the film world, but it is a business, and it has to be producible. So there's different things about that. Hope that helps. Dred Scott said, I write short stories, but I want to get into TV and film. Great. So then you are a writer. You're already a writer. So to get into TV and film, put yourself in a hub. All right? Like Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, occasionally New Orleans. Get yourself on a movie. I make it sound easy. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can start off by looking for... I'm also assuming you're in the United States, which is... I have to remember is not a it's not an assumption that I should make also, because we have so many people from all across the world here. One of the easiest ways to get on a film set is becoming an extra. You look for talent agencies that are casting extras. You get onto a movie set, you start talking to crew members, then if you transition that into a crew job, crew people are always looking for people. They're always looking for production assistants. They're always looking for different things. So there's always work there, and that work is very far and few, but it is there. It's not as easy to. It's not as hard to get in as people say if you put yourself out there. But there is a gatekeeping element to it in some ways. You just have to keep pressing forward. You have to want it. You have to push for it. I'll be doing videos on different things like that. I want to make a video explaining to people how they can get into the industry and all that, with my own personal stories and how it worked for me, and maybe that could work for somebody else. All right. Catching up on this. So we talked about a lot of things today, guys. We didn't just talk about One Piece. We talked about movies. We talked about Batman. We talked about Marvel stuff. We talked about writing. We talked about life. And ultimately, that's what I want the channel to be, is sort of anything. Talked about theories. This was fun. I hope you guys had fun. I hope that you don't mind that it didn't necessarily have a structure to this stream. And but as always, I want to say that I appreciate you guys. I'm going to end things here. I'm going to try and get a video out during the week from one of the ones that I've shot already, if I can. And we'll be here for the 10/19 stream next Friday. The Reverie will be that Saturday. Probably do an analysis and Reverie recap Sunday or Monday. So that's the future timeline for the channel. I want to thank everybody that became a member during the channel. Appreciate you guys. I think we're 3 away from 100, 3 away from the next emoji. It's amazing. And you guys are great. Chin said talk more about Dark Knight Rises. I'll do a whole video on it one day. Benito Kun, hello Randy from Greece. Do we have any updates for the One Piece live action? We do not. But at some point we will. Galaxy said, say hey to Chrissy and Mars from the whole chat. Have a great day. Will do. She can probably hear you. Even if she's not talking, I'm sure she's listening. So. All right, thanks again, everybody. I'm ending it now. Great stream. I'll see you guys soon.